Folks, what is going on? Welcome to the much anticipated March Madness Trainwreck Sports Best of Buffalo bracket, sponsored by Cellino Plumbing and Batavia Downs. Boys, how we doing? How we doing?
Doing better than ever. The March Madness is finally upon us. We're going to pick a best of Buffalo once again this year. Uh, Many years in running now here, Maniac.
Yeah, I believe it's the seventh year. I'll have to get our interns and fact checkers to verify. I believe we're in year 7. But yeah, super exciting. Every year, like I say, it's the magic of the madness. People will say, "Oh, how could this be in there? How could this be a what seed?" Then it'll all start, and everyone will forget that they were ever complaining about anything. It'll be beauty. It's a masterpiece. It's the most magical part of the spring. It is the Buffalo bracket. Huge shout out to Cellino Plumbing and HVAC and Batavia Downs for hopping on again this year.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Let's go. So, without further ado, I say we just dive right into it. So, folks, here we go. Strap in your 2025 Best of Buffalo.
Here we go. Is there a way to gamble on this? We will be working on that, hopefully.
All right, here we go. We're starting
Fill out a bracket.
in the Northtown region. No surprise here. First seed overall in this region, Bills Tailgates. Folks, Bills Tailgates went undefeated this year. Incredible year for Bills Tailgates. And then coming in at 16 is a team that made their debut last year, but they're back again. Still a heavy underdog, but the new kids on the block, dispensaries.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Herbal IQ can lead the dispensaries in a upstart upset. But yeah, that is going to be a tall task. Like Bill's Tailgates, revered kind of like religion around here in Western New York.
Yeah, and they've become a symbol of Buffalo and well known to people outside of the region as well. How iconic of an event it just can be in those parking lots of Orchard Park. People come from far and wide just to experience the mafia experience of the tailgate in OP. There's nothing like it. It's magical. It's heaven on earth. That's going to be a tough matchup for dispensaries.
Shout out Amy B, Kathy Vale, and Go Howie on Instagram tuning in.
Thanks, folks. Thanks. All right, and now we got up next the 8 and 9. This is a matchup right here.
A barn burner. Two really big names on social media. Macy's Place today. Have become a real big fan of Macy's Place social media team and the captions that are so absurd that they use to promote their specials and whatnot. I say more on that front? Just go read the captions yourself. But these are two social media powerhouses, Maniacs. So they should be able to get a lot of traction behind each of their organizations for this matchup.
Yeah, I think both sides excel at doing something that a lot of people do. There's a lot of Bills, podcasts and a lot of Bills coverage. There's a lot of pizzerias, but they both put their own niche on it. They both put their own mark on it to kind of make their product, to make their brand unique. So shout out to both these. This should be a, knife fight type 8-9 matchup for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, cover one coming in at the 9. I think they debuted in the bracket last year at 15 and shocked Wegmans in the first round. Made quite a run as a 15 seed. I think to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 at least. We'll have to get the fact checkers on that as well. But yeah, and Macy's Place, they've also been climbing up the ranks. This is an early matchup that is just gonna get it might cause some bad blood online, but we'll have to wait.
Both these entities have crazy fan bases, so it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah. All right, and up next, we got two familiar faces talking about Wegmans. It kind of fell off. They used to be a top 2, a 2, 3, 4 seed. Now they're at 12 after getting shocked last year. Well, and then Paul's Donuts. They've been solid, reliable donuts. I mean, some of the best in town, and just again a food matchup. You hate to see it, but it's a Buffalo food, but that's plenty to be represented here.
You said it yourself, Don. This is one brand that's kind of maintained its tempo or improved in a lot of ways across the board. And then there's one that's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. A lot of people say Wegmans isn't what it used to be. So we'll see here in 2025. People are still respecting what Wegmans is bringing to the table in the Buffalo bracket, Slick.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a matchup of a niche versus an essential. You go to Wegmans when you need just about basically anything. Paula's Donuts, while there is competition, donut staple here in Buffalo. It's going to be interesting to see how Wegmans can try and bounce back into the swing of things. Again, there has been some controversy around Wegmans in this bracket in the past. I'll just leave it at that. Exciting matchup.
All right, so let's keep moving to finish off the first top quadrant. UB Athletics, yeah, great year they've had. Sean Dolak making it to a bowl game. It's a great year for UB and Elmwood Village. Again, reliable. They're always kind of in that higher seed range, but this is two people going head to head. Elmwood Village, you probably have more of a concentration of Buff State students too, so we got a little college rivalry here almost.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some people are like, "How do UB Athletics get this high?" But anytime you win, 8 or more games in NCAA football, that's an accomplishment for sure. And obviously, the year Dolak had, the year that a lot of players had across the board, Lembo obviously doing a great job coming in. Don't sleep on some of the other programs either. I know women's, only made the semis in the MAC tournament, but they had one of their strongest starts to a season that they've had in history. So a lot of good going on at UB. We'll see if they can keep that momentum. A four seed's a tall task, and that's even for coming for you as a bull, Slick.
Yeah, it is tough, but I think they earned it this year with, like you said, Nate. Sorry, I almost said Nate Oates. Jeez, Pete Lembo, going to a bowl game first time in a while for UB Athletics there, and then like you said, the girls had a hell of a year on the court as well. Elmwood Village, this could be one where you get some support from the residential folk in they rally around their neighborhood here. There's the Village offers some great things. You got Porch Fest in the summer, all different great restaurants and housing along Elmwood. Interesting matchup here. UB Athletics, though, gonna get all the support of that UB community.
It's a great point. We got the Amherst versus the Elmwood Village. Looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, and just finishing off this top quadrant again. I mean, we have some interesting sports matches up. Bills Tailgates, Cover One, UB Athletics, all on a crash course to run into each other. So even beyond the first round, there's some major excitement happening here. But let's continue on to the bottom part of the quadrant. All right, Bison Dip and Hurdle.
Oh,
yeah. Bison Dip, they've slowly, I think a couple years ago, started out as a playing team, but they've had some big landslide wins the last couple years. And Hurdle's on the up and up. I mean, it's a reliable spot, great spot to hang out. They have their Friday night sip and shop things during the summer where, you can kind of have a glass of wine and stop at some places, shop outside. People set up discount little racks outside. Really a great time with summer on the horizon, hopefully.
Yeah, weather's going to play a role. Weather's going to play a role, Slick, into this. I think if we start getting some warm days, maybe later this week, maybe into the tournament, Hurdle can make a run. But yeah, Bison Dip, a perennial performer in this Buffalo bracket, Slick.
Yeah, with the emergence of spring, Hurdle and offering all those bars, being able to bar crawl in some good weather, first time in the spring, there's nothing like it. So that may play into the factor here. But Bison Dip is something that doesn't even need to prove themselves. They have the credibility. They always have a staple here in Buffalo. That's what I dip my chip in, Bison Dip. So going to be hard for Hurdle here, but I think they do it? Of course. Anyone can do it. That's what makes the Buffalo bracket so great.
Yeah, I think the second you start assuming one thing will happen, it's upset city. So looking forward to yeah, this Northtown's bracket is definitely no shortage of contenders.
Heavy hitters.
Yeah. All right, let's continue on. We got number 3, first spring happy hour
Mm.
and a playing game. Talking about spring summer happy hour. Looks like again you might have another interesting matchup if Hurdle pulls off this upset, running smack into first spring happy hour. Two
Yeah,
things that
those
kind of go together great, coming against each other though.
absolutely. That's kind of a contradiction waiting to happen with those contenders there. It could feed off of each other in those first matchups, hopefully wanting to get that matchup into the next round. But interested to see what that play-in contender will be there.
Yeah, first spring happy hour. I'm telling you right now, you might as well just take the Sharpie and put them over into the next round. When you get a long winter like this region just got, the first spring happy hour, summertime weather. I think even Hurdle potentially here in this region, they get a huge bump. And then speaking of bumps, the only bump in the road they'll be facing is the playing game. I'm not sure if we have a graphic on, but we got it as Step Out Buffalo versus Buffalo Joe, who we had the fortune of running into in LA. Will be a very interesting matchup. I think Step Out Buffalo made their bracket debut last year, and did not have exactly a strong showing, if I recall correctly, Dreamboat.
They made it in through the playoff in or the play-in game, but yeah, we're bounced in the first round. Yeah, and the voting wasn't particularly close, but we're they belong there. We'll see if they can bounce back, and I think they can. Again, it's another interesting matchup with that play-in game. Buffalo Joe, another new face, and kind of a old reliable face. And Step Out Buffalo too. They'll always have their like top 10 places to have your happy hour drinks. So a lot of these are all coming head to head. But let's continue on to 7 meat raffles. Ride for Roswell. Meat raffles. They again kind of a newer face, but made quite a splash 2 years ago, and then last year made it pretty far. Everyone loves a good meat raffle. I got invited one recently, couldn't go, was devastated. So this is I think meat raffles might you know pull this off, but Ride for Roswell, a great community building force to support cancer research and everything down at Roswell, a great community event, and we love those here.
Yeah, meat raffles are great because you could go for the steak or you could leave with the whole cow. You never know what you're walking into and you never know what you're going home with. Kind of something that's very unique to Buffalo. I've never really heard of such elsewhere. And then the Ride for Roswell, obviously, such a great community event, probably the biggest all year that we have here in Buffalo, for a great cause, support cancer research and those facing that battle.
Yeah, Roswell, one of the amazing Ride for Roswell, doing amazing work. One of the amazing events they do all year. Again, it's like versus a staple of Buffalo. You think how could the good that Ride for Roswell does and what it represents possibly not making the second round? Well, people love their meat. I hate to say it. That's just how Buffalo works. So when you're matching up in this bracket, emotions go out the window. Well, people, they are going on their base instinct. They are going on the brain synapse that's firing off in their noggin. They don't have time to think about all that. They are focused on who they want to win. So it'll be very interesting to see meat raffles versus Ride for Roswell as we close out this Northtown bracket, Don.
Yep. And so for the last two, we got Summer Weather, Borderland Music Festival, making their debut in at number 15, a festival that occurs, in the early fall. I think it's been the second week of September. Shout out Borderland. They've had some great lineups over the years, continue to grow, and they just announced their lineup recently. Some big names, and if you're a music fan, it's the place to be in September. But then Summer Weather, kind of goes hand in hand with an outdoor concert or a festival, even though it's closer to the end of summer, fall. But again, Maniac, you said it best. After the winter we've had, I mean, it's going to be tough to beat summer weather.
People want that weather, weather or not. No, okay, bad pun. But yeah, they are definitely all focused. Anything that's gonna be weather based, anything that's gonna be being outside, I think is gonna run rampant on this year's bracket.
Yeah, I think you said it best, Maniac. That's going to be a tough matchup for the Music Fest there, but you never know.
All right, well, that wraps up our Northtown region, and we are heading over, folks, to the Southtown. We got local breweries kicking it off with another play-in game. We'll have a full graphic of that at the end of going over all our regions. But if we want to talk about it now, the Southtown playing for the 16 seed, Perry's Ice Cream and a Buffalo Fish Fry. And then whoever wins that is facing local breweries. I mean, this is just local food, local drink, just battling it out early.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. If you're having a beer battered fish fry somewhere, you could be double dipping this matchup. But it may give a flare up in the first couple hundred votes, but ultimately local breweries will run away with this one.
There's two things people take very seriously here in Buffalo. It's their beer and their fish fry. And so a lot of breweries and a lot of places that take their fish fry very seriously are probably going to come out in numbers for this matchup. Excited to see who comes out. I could go for a beer. I could go for a fish fry right now.
Yeah, and then get some Perry's ice cream for dessert. I mean, that's a whole
Well, I
meal.
mean, what a combo. Triple
Yeah.
threat.
I do see the buffalo fish fry winning though. I think especially we know what time of year it is. It's Lent. Whether you practice or not, I know people that every Friday they're going to get a fish fry religiously. So I think, and honestly, I think that could give local breweries a pretty good run, even as a 16. But we're gonna have to find out. Let's go over to 8 consumers, 9 Jay's Artisan Pizza. I mean, this is again kind of very similar to the last matchup. You got consumers, a place to, if you're someone that's got a kegerator, you could get a whole keg. You could go fill up your growler there. Great local beer, great beer from all over the U.S. and even the world. And then Jay's Artisan Pizza, again, kind of a new face. I think they debuted last year, but if you want that nice brick oven pizza, I mean, that's Jay's. I actually found out about it due to the bracket last year. Didn't have it, had to try it, and they belong here.
Yeah, that's a good buy.
It's not a traditional Buffalo pizza, Slick, but it's one that's nationally ranked, I believe. And yeah, if you've had it, a lot of people swear by it.
Yeah, like you said, not Buffalo style pizza, but I don't think that will do a whole lot in terms of the dent on their votes. But this is another matchup, like in the last one you said, Don. Two more things that people take very seriously in Buffalo, adding pizza onto that list of beer as well. And you can find near just about damn near every beer at Consumers. So this is going to be tough, but Jay's Artisan, that brick oven, who knows?
Yeah, who knows indeed, and who knows who's going to win this next matchup. This is a tough one too. Number 5, Bison theme games. They're coming back again. You love the theme games in the summer. I'm hoping, I haven't seen the announcement yet. Hoping for maybe a dollar dog night so I can try the 999 challenge myself this year. I've been training all winter. I think I got the stomach room. We'll have to see about that. And then Tim Hortons, who doesn't love a good double from Tim's? Funny quick side about Tim's. When I toured through Canada with that band, went over to Vancouver, I'm like, hey, anyone want me to grab Tim's on the way over for rehearsal? And they were confused. They're like, how does an American know about Tim's? And I'm like, you guys know the guy that started it, played for the Buffalo Sabres. We have a whole statue of him downtown, and the first locations were in Ontario and Western New York. So it was just funny, someone from Vancouver being like, how do you know Tim's? What? So
Yeah, a Canuck fan not knowing who Tim Horton is kind of crazy. But the Bison theme games, like you said, they're back for all their games this season down at Salem Field. But roll up the rim season being right around the time that we're revealing Tim Hortons on this 12 seed. Not that
Yes.
much of a coincidence, and that could work in their favor, Maniac.
Yeah, roll up the rim is the only thing rolling up Tim Hortons' chances as far as I'm concerned, because similar to Wegmans, this is a brand that throughout the longevity and history of the Buffalo bracket has lost its way. Definitely not what it used to be. Used to be a single-digit seed year in, year out. Now I think it's lucky to get into the field. I expect Bison's theme games with their wide array and extra schedule this year to run away with this one pretty easy. No upset in this 5-12 matchup.
Heard that. Heard that. Okay, and now sealing off this quadrant, a new face to the
Uh-oh.
Buffalo bracket. She belongs there now. She is now potentially queen of Buffalo. People are calling her. Some are calling her that. And Haley Steinfeld coming in at number 4. Guys, this is, I mean, to debut in the best of Buffalo as high as a number 4 seed. I mean, what do we think? This is a bold move by the committee. And
The
then
committee's
Lloyd,
crazy for this one. I think, like you said, again, no one on this committee, no one on this brand even has titled them king, queen, but you've seen it. There's been a lot of people using that rhetoric. I think I saw a billboard from Delaware North downtown with that. I mean, when they're putting billboards up, there's clearly money in it to be made. So they were appealing to an audience there. I guess Buffalo loves them some Haley Steinfeld. We'll see, because I know Buffalo loves them some Lloyd. So, this is a this is a matchup. I hate to say it, even with the shine of a Steinfeld, that Lloyd is at most a 2.5 or 3-point underdog in this 4-13 matchup.
Yeah, those 4-13s, they get greasy down the stretch. Lloyd adding a new location recently, too, opening up on Elmwood. Like you said, Maniac, people love their Lloyds here in Buffalo. You and I had it the other day. There's nothing like a Lloyd's burrito. It's a big burrito, but it's also a big task to take on Haley Steinfeld, especially when she's coming in at that 4 seed. Like you guys said, I think she's earned her right to be there, but this one shall get interesting.
yeah, there is going to be some enemies made as well with this. I think it's going to be interesting for some diehard Josh and Bills fans what they're going to do with this one. But we're continuing on another food staple.
Oh my
Shot
gosh.
Darian Bryan versus Hope Rises.
Oh, there's gonna be some
Yeah,
heat
this
to
this is
one.
what the committee just getting blood right now. Chef Darian Bryan, I mean, obviously, the Jamaican Jubilee, I believe they call him, but just an amazing person, awesome product. Is obviously does a number of projects across the city, and is just like almost as close to a self-made celebrity as they get, I guess, in Buffalo, if that makes sense. And Hope Rises. I mean, there's just no end to the good they do between the fundraising and the drawing attention to the amazing causes. Just a lot of positivity coming out. A lot of positivity coming out of both these contenders, Slick.
Yeah, this one is going to be a heavyweight battle because both of these enterprises do great things for the city of Buffalo. Chef Darren Bryan just recently opening a restaurant in Larkinville as well, I believe. Hope Rises. The amount of stuff they do is really incredible. Shout out Kate Glazier and everyone else involved over there with them. I think everyone and their mother is going to come out for this vote, and it's going to be quite a matchup. Mute monster.
Oh shit!
It
What a way to
happens.
yep, muted. What a way to kick off this bottom quadrant. Let's see what else we got going here. We got Sabres Twitter, everything Buffalo, 2 social media powerhouses. One, more of a brand, and the other just I mean, what do we call Sabres
Like
Twitter?
a cult?
A cult, a desolate army, a cesspool, some would even say. Um, sometimes toxic, sometimes positive. It's chaos. Sabres Twitter coming in at a
Like the Royal Rumble.
yeah, I believe they made it to the Elite 8 last year. Actually, maybe Final 4. I'm gonna have to check on that. Either Sabres Twitter or Sabres Goathead. Either of them made it to the Final 4 last year. Which, speaking of Sabres playing right now, we'll see how Sabres Twitter is reacting to that after this show. But yeah, just another great matchup.
When Sabres Twitter calls in the reserves the troops really come out in
Yeah.
full force. So if we were talking about blood in the last matchup, this one's going to be crazy as well because everything Buffalo also massive following maniac.
Yeah, everything Buffalo, obviously the mass volume we'll see. But Sabres Twitter, listen, I respect everything Buffalo. They got their own army, but Sabres Twitter, it's like you said, like, you'll have them pinned in the castle, and all of a sudden here comes like a flanking army over the hill, like just like to take you out and to take your will. Just devastating. So we'll see if EB can take down Sabres Twitter, but if Sabres Twitter gets going, they could easily get into the Elite Eight here, but not even knowing the two.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And then for the next matchup, golf courses and Mayer Brothers. This is an interesting one. Mayer Brothers, known for their ciders, and I believe, um, again, someone I wasn't familiar with. I think made their debut last year, and just great stuff over there. But then we're plenty of representation for warm weather activities in this bracket maniac.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one. Mayer Brothers can go on a run. They can give golf courses trouble. Golf courses might get caught in between here because the season's it is starting this week. So like Glen Oak, for example, is opening tomorrow. So if that starts hitting, that can go on a run. Looks like there's a lot of contenders in the bottom half of the South Towns bracket. That's the one thing I'm taking away, Suck.
Yeah, there is heavy hitters for sure, top to the bottom. Mayer Brothers they're great. There's nothing like getting a cider with the donut, around the straw on the top of the cup when it becomes fall time. But as Maniac said, we got golf courses opening up. I hate to say it, but this is a nightmare matchup for the Mayer Brothers.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to see great seeding there, and then two more very familiar faces. You got Barbell Tavern. Um, I mean, absolute staple. You want to talk about the best of Buffalo when your QB talks about what made him want to come to Buffalo. You know, that recent clip where he said he went and met some of the scouts at Barbell and had the wings, and that convinced him that's where he wants to be. That's speaking pretty highly of your establishment. And then Adam Zyglis, Pulitzer winner, cartoonist. He's not slowing down. I've seen he had some great drawings during the Bills season this year. Speaking of Bills fans, and continues just to have a major force, major clickability, we'll say, online with his cartoons.
Anything on this list that makes QB1 stay in Buffalo just a little bit longer deserves to be on it just for that alone. Another not great matchup if you're Adam Zilgis, but you never know what can happen in the Buffalo bracket. But I will say, Barbill, Adam Zilgis, you're in trouble, buddy.
Yeah, but hey, he might be able to illustrate. He might be able to draw, an upset up. But obviously, like Don, you said, Don, he's no end of the bangers from AZ. But Barbell just a tough draw. The respect is across the board. It's never ending. Every Bills player's favorite spot. It's tough to go against a Barbell.
Yeah, and he's had some tough draws the last 2 years, but we'll see. He's been hardened by high competition. That wraps up our Southtown, and now we're going to the third part, downtown. We have Allentown coming in at 1. I mean, in the downtown region, Allentown's up there. Made quite a run last year. I think they made it to the Elite Eight as well. Were taken down, if I'm remembering correctly, by Brother Bill. But Allentown, they've been quite in the news this year between the Pink and the Brick Bar burning down and some other closings happening. But there's still one seed. I was there yesterday for St. Patrick's Day, and if you wanted proof that there's still a force in the downtown region, you just had to look outside your window. And then Shays, an absolute staple of entertainment. Seen a show there this year, going back in about 2 weeks for Shucked. Looking forward to it. But I don't see Shays getting past Allentown. What do you guys think?
It's a tough draw for Shays for sure. These are two places to talk about highlights of the downtown region here in Buffalo. these are these are etched in Buffalo history already. Both of these things. Allentown taking some hard falls recently with losing two of its most well-known bars. And Shays never stops. You know, they have the 43 North finals there each year as well. Always great things happening at Shays, but it is going to be tough. Allentown's got some representation and probably some sentimental value for a lot of people.
Yeah, I look at it. I mean, this is something where I said that another matchup, like the first couple hundred votes might go for him, but there's no way. If Shays gets out to like a 200, 300 vote advantage quick, the thing is, are people going to rally to an Allentown? Are people going to be like, oh, come on, we can't have Shays win this? Like, I think people respect Shays. I think people would be interested in seeing a 16 beating a 1. So I think it's possible. But yeah, Shays needs Shays needs a 20-5 run to start the game here.
Yeah, a lot of points going to be need to be scored from that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see two downtown forces come together early. And 8 and 9. This is going to be quite a matchup. Zubas, everyone, I feel like the city's covered in Zubas for at least half the year. And then Seneca 1 Tower, where there were plenty of Zubas this year for some Bills hype events that we were lucky to do as Trainwreck Sports. Seneca 1, they've since they burst on the block, they've been in the bracket, but they haven't made much noise thus far. But will they make noise this year? Slick, what do you think?
We certainly can't wait to see Seneca 1. Always seems to be hosting some fun, some event. Yeah, like what more to be said? Seneca 1, there is everything to be had. So many historic things going on with Seneca 1. Great companies thriving up there in the highest building of the city of Buffalo. Zubas, though, I mean, you see the glasses. You can't go anywhere in Buffalo, seemingly, without seeing some Zubas design, whether it's on glasses, whether it's on shorts, whether it's on the OG pajama pant. It doesn't matter. The Zubas are everywhere. So this is going to be a tough matchup for the Seneca 1 Tower, but can they do it? Of course they can. A lot of companies and people in that building that can rally behind that tower.
Well said, Slickeroni. Yeah, this is something where if the Seneca 1 Tower unites, which it definitely can, if they put the call out the beacon, it definitely can happen. But Zubaz just has kind of like that Bills vibe behind it. If Seneca 1 Tower doesn't get out early, it could be a bloodbath for them. I see Zubaz moving on here.
Yes, I agree completely. So let's see what's in store now. Next, number 5, a debut of a singular song. I think this is history. I don't think we've ever had a single pop song enter in before. But Mr. Brightside debuting at a number 5. Pretty high seating there. And then 12, the 11-day power play, amazing event for charity. Buffalo is a hockey town despite our hockey woes lately. So we kind of got football against hockey right here.
Yeah, this is another interesting entry, getting a particularly high seed in their debut year. But I'll tell you what, I smell upset city written all over this one. I just don't think a song by a band from Las Vegas is going to beat the powerhouse that is the 11-day power play, giving all that money towards cancer research and charitable efforts through the sport we love known as hockey. So I'm smelling a classic 12 over a 5 in this one, Maniac.
Yeah, I mean, Slick, if you with the way you were hitting notes in the studio that one day, I think that's definitely a fair pick. I like the 11-day power play to get the upset done here. Always an upstart in this Buffalo bracket. 11-day power play, downtown region could be making some noise.
Yeah, like you said, it's like you see the classic upsets in 5 versus 12. We might see that here. We might. And is Mr. Brightside a flash in the pan, or will they be back after this too? We'll have to see about their longevity.
Yeah, that could be interesting as well. You never know.
Yes,
Lack of traffic.
Lack of traffic? There's some longevity, even as Buffalo.
There's something we can all get behind. There's something that hasn't fallen off over the years.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You see rent prices going up, more people moving, and the traffic doesn't get worse. I mean, you gotta love it. I'm shocked every year. And then Buffalo sunsets. Two things that, quite frankly, go perfectly. If you're driving north on Route 5 over the Skyway, you get that perfect sunset over the lake. So yeah, seeing these come head to head early, um, really really incredible. I don't see lack of traffic losing this though. I will have a little plug. Buffalo Sunsets, one of the few East Coast cities that has a sunset over its body of water. So your New Yorks, your Phillies, your Boston's, their body of water is on the east, sunsets in the west. Buffalo, we're lucky to have sun setting over the water here.
Not only does it sunset over the water, it sunsets over essentially another country. How rare is that?
Definitely not something too common, but definitely a couple other Rust Belt cities that can probably add that to their name as well. But this Buffalo Sunset does not really have a great matchup here. I mean, I know we can all get behind a Buffalo Sunset as well as the traffic, but lack of traffic historically does pretty well in this Buffalo bracket. I see them making it not only a run in the downtown region, but maybe further.
Indeed, indeed. All right, next quadrant we have Loganberry and Left Turn. I mean, this is Loganberry. They've been a staple since day one, and it. I think it's a drink. We all loved as kids. Had a Loganberry recently. Hadn't had one in a while as an adult. Still holds up. It was for a little adult treat. I mixed it with a White Claw. Very good, very good. Added a little more sugar than I needed, maybe, but and obviously we're talking about Aunt Rosie's Loganberry. Gonna have to talk to the committee about specifying on the bracket here. Then Left Turn, you know, again, kind of Bill's community, but crosses over as well into other communities, music, art. A great force in Buffalo.
If you thought a root beer float was good, a Loganberry float is everything that root beer is and a bag of chips more. Nothing like a Loganberry on a hot summer's day. Definitely going to play into the weather again. A lot of this bracket will. But Left Turn Co. doing great things. I have a Left Turn Co. hat myself. Classic B design with the flag. Nice hat. Really nice hat. A lot of great stuff at Left Turn. Maniac, where do you see this one going?
Ultimately, Loganberry, Left Turn. I hate to say this because I love Left Turn and everything they do on like yearly basis. And there was a kind of a resurgence this year, no pun intended. But Loganberry gets a big rally behind it every year in this bracket. So Left Turn's definitely in for a tall task. We'll have to see if they can pull off the 11-6 upset.
We'll have to see. And then this matchup, I don't see the an upset happening here. Sabres Goat Head. Now the magic might be gone from the Goat Head when they debuted it, and it seemed like it was the only time they could win. But thrust back in the spotlight, playing their first away game in the Goat Heads this year, about a week ago. And then Delaware Park. Listen, we all love Delaware Park. It's one of my favorite places to go. Love walking my dog there, and they even have that public golf course that if you're just looking to get in a quick 9 without having to leave the city, why not? But yeah, I don't see Sabres Goat Head. I think runs away with this easily.
Yeah, this is another nightmare matchup for Delaware Park. Obviously, a lot of great things happen there. Great walking trail, great place to get exercise, play some hoops, amongst other things. But once the Goat Head has come back, it seems for a while there like people were just begging for it, and that was enough to make Sabres Twitter happy, which is saying a lot. But yeah, the Goat Head kind of seems far superior in this matchup to me, at least, Maniac.
Yeah, I think it's going to be this recent Sabres struggles that's going to make this close. They haven't been dominant in recent years in the Goat Head like they were those first year or two. I could see Delaware Park pulling out the upset. I know you guys are very confident in the Goat Head. Although a lot of the points you made were accurate, but I could see them pulling off an upset here. I would not go away quite yet on Delaware Park in this one.
All right. Well, we'll have to see if it's a walk in the park for either of them. Next up, we got Blue Collar U with another play-in game. This play-in game, fitting for the downtown region, it's going to be Riverworks versus City Hall. I mean, City Hall last year had a fairly high seating, now bumped to the play-in game after getting upset, and not just upset, but decimated last year. And then Blue Collar U. What do we think about this matchup? So again, playing Riverworks, City Hall, and then whoever wins that against Blue Collar U.
The City Hall, if it has a high seat, I think that's interesting, given the fact that Riverworks has the presence they do on social media, and a lot of things happen at Riverworks all the time. Speaking of never stopping, Riverworks is a place that never stops, fitting for the downtown region, as you said. But Blue Collar U had recent success winning that tournament and all those fan favorites from that team. Speaking of getting into March, from when we beat Arizona in our own version of an upset 7 years ago, Maniac, 8, I think it was the other day.
Yeah, I have to call a foul here though. What the hell is Blue Collar U doing at a 7 seed? They didn't do anything last year. Does the committee know something about them coming back this year or something? I mean, I am puzzled. I can see the playing game making so. It is a 7-10, but yeah, Blue Collar U not exactly sure how they got here. This is the UNC of the Buffalo bracket for sure. Clearly, since they're in a play-in.
Yeah, some legacy going on there for sure. I agree. That's the UNC this year. But finalizing this, two social media powerhouses, Brother Bill videos, just the videos, and against Just Dishin'. I mean, Just Dishin'. How it's funny. I was walking down Main Street, walking past their shop a couple days ago, and then Brother Bill, who made it to the finals last year against Chicken Wing, and
Yeah.
barely lost that matchup. So Brother Bill coming in at a number 2, despite making it to the finals last year. I mean, looking at this bracket, I, if I can gamble on this, I'm putting the house on him in the final 4.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a bold statement.
typically he only loses when he tells people to vote against him, when he faces like a Buffalo Bills entity or something. Just Dishin', it's very interesting. Like they're kind of like a bizarro version of Michigan State. Instead of Tom Izzo like always being able to play in March, I think they thrive all year round. And then when they get into the Buffalo bracket, they struggle a little bit more. So it'd be interesting to see if they can keep tempo at all with Brother Bill, but tough round matchup for the Just Dishin' boys. They had a great year, new era debut, all kinds of stuff with the skate skins across all the leagues across the hockey world, a lot of partnerships. But yeah, Brother Bill probably going to take that one and go on a run in this downtown region for sure.
Yeah, Just Dishin' doing a lot of great things over this past year. Historically, like you said, Maniac struggle a little bit in the bracket, but also historically, Brother Bill gets a lot of these huge celebrity endorsements in this tournament, and then has to end up coming just up a little bit short each time. So I think people may look at this as a huge mismatch, but I think it might be a bit closer than people think. But I think I do lean in the favor of Brother Bill.
All right. Well, that wraps up our downtown region. We have one region left before revisiting the first 4.
I found a region for me. I had to do it.
Well,
Oh,
there we go.
There we go.
What a way to start the Niagara region. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Bandits,
that's not messing around.
2-time champs. Yeah. Number 1. I mean, they're going for the 3-peat, and they're hot right now. Shout out Banditos podcast. Make sure you're following them. New Trainwreck Sports Bandits content and podcast leader. Coming in at a number 1 seed. I mean, guys, the Bandits are the most reliable Buffalo team in terms of championship winning. And then they're playing the play-in. Number 6, we got 2 legendary food staples, Anderson's versus Sponge Candy. 2 great desserts. So I mean, those those are tough opponents, but how do you beat the Bandits right now? How do you stop the Bandits?
It feels like no one can beat the Bandits at the moment. A quest for a three-peat says enough in itself. One seed, very deservingly so. Two great things in Anderson's and Sponge Candy. But I mean, what are we doing here? I think the Banditos run away with this. Like they're hopefully running away with a third straight title, Maniac.
Yeah, I think that if Banditland gets a hold of this bracket, Bandits two-time champs and going for a third, the quest for that three-peat could easily vault into the final four out of the Niagara region here. So I think Bandits two-time champs is going to cruise early in this bracket.
Agreed, agreed. We'll have to see who else they have in their region. Uh-oh. Well,
Uh-oh.
we're having some errors. Well, we're gonna just fast forward to the complete bracket to talk about that. We're having a tech error. So we have at the number 8 and 9 cost of living taking on Ted's Hot Dogs. Again, cost of living is kind of like traffic. It's like it's pretty reliable now. Up until recent years, it has gone up a little bit, but always getting good votes. And Ted's Hot Dogs, again, another food staple. I mean, there's no shortage of legendary foods here in the Buffalo bracket.
Yeah, there's no shortage of powerhouses. Cost of living, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's leveled off a little bit compared with last year, but that's a tough 8-9 matchup. Ted's is no slouch, so one of those could be going home early very easily.
Tough year for cost of living, just with the cost of living being pretty high just about everywhere across the country at the moment. But Ted's Hot Dogs, people love those glizzies. Going with Ted's. Not just the glizzies, the onion rings, the burgers. I mean, you can get it all. The milkshakes, really good food, really good grub. Enough to be said about Ted's. It has immortalized itself in Buffalo.
It really is a staple. And
With two locations in Arizona too, I might say.
Now I have a question, a bit of an aside, because I did this recently. Is getting a burger at Ted's like sacrilegious?
See, I used to think so, but I think it's a lot more common than people may make it seem. Ted's always with a steady line, and there's not always hot dogs on that grill. So I think people may deceive you if they try to tell you that. But there is nothing wrong with going for a classic footlong at Ted's.
Not at all, not at all. And then another Buffalo food staple, beef on weck. A couple years ago, got bumped to the play-in game, but now they're back. Pretty high seed for them, 5, but against wrestler Daniel Garcia. Garcia's been slowly climbing up the past couple years. Still not a top seed force, but he's pulled off some wins. Do we think that he can take a big bite out of beef on weck?
I think so. DG got his $1 million contract slick. He's got his big time promotion up front, and he could be, when it's all said and done, the one to finally take down the Death Riders.
This guy is the face of TNT, the future of AEW, and the future of wrestling. Can definitely take a big chunk bite out of that beef on weck. But that's something that people also get very defensive about here in Buffalo is the beef on weck. Some say it's the direct partner of the wing. So tough matchup for DG, but I think he might dance his way to victory in the round of 64 here.
Indeed, indeed. And then next up, we have, again, another food staple. This upper quadrant is packed with staples. Cup and char pepperoni, which up until a few years ago, I didn't even know was a Buffalo thing, but it makes complete sense. I mean, it really does that. It brings that Buffalo style pizza to the next level. We have a very doughy pizza, so when you get that crunchy, style pepperoni, that's just pulling all the grease, just holding it like two hands. Just it's a deliciously unhealthy thing. And then we got the Goo Goo Dolls, who, going to be honest, they kind of made a late debut in this bracket than I thought. last year didn't make it as far as I thought. I don't know a person that if you mention the Goos who don't like them in Buffalo, but I just don't know if they have the social media soldiers that they would have maybe in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the fans are gonna let that one slide, and Cup and Char Pepperoni's gonna cruise into round two.
Yeah, it's a good point on Goo Goo Dolls. They not the entire band, but Robbie from them trying to get their version of the Mr. Brightside thing going that Maniac and I partook in. Might be the only thing holding them up here against Cup and Char Pepperoni because everyone loves the Cup and Char. You can't get the buffalo pie without the cheese and the Cup and Char Pep.
Indeed. And then one place where, you can't get your Cup and Char, I realized when I was on tour, wrong turn into Canada. Now, funny story, when I was on tour, we were around Sault Ste. Marie. To get to the next place, the bus took a wrong turn, and we were in line to get back into the U.S. So I almost had a wrong turn into the U.S. when I was supposed to be stuck in Canada for a couple months. But wrong turn into Canada, taking on something else we share with Canada, Niagara Falls, and the tour is led by Howard Simon. We thought he was retired. We thought he had, with the retirement last year in the bracket, he might be done. But Howard finds his way back as an 11 seed with his new gig, the Niagara Falls Tours. What do we think about that?
I mean, this is a great matchup, and with that just adds another layer onto the Niagara Falls tour as well. But the wrong turn into Canada is something that very few cities in this country have the ability of holding that to their name. I call this one the Captain Classic because I feel like he opened our eyes as to how this should definitely be in the Buffalo bracket. So definitely a fun matchup here. Classic tight 6-11 competition. Not sure who walks away with this one, to be honest. Both weird, little bit concepts being the shared with Canada and whatnot. Not really sure they like us right now. Maniac, who do you got in this? I can't pick a winner. This is a tight race to call.
Shout out J Mags and the Real Mort Report on Instagram. With that said, I gotta go with Howard Simon Niagara Falls Tours. I just know it's an absolutely darling experience from what I've heard. Wrong turn into Canada. This bracket has made me appreciate it a lot more. The ability for a momentary wrong decision to cause you to enter another country is hysterical. And for it to happen to someone's funny, but yeah, gotta go with Howard Simon Niagara Falls Tours here.
Yeah, and then continuing this Niagara region, very, very on brand, we have the falls themselves. So we might have Howard potentially in the second round taking on the falls himself. But Niagara Falls has to get past the Niagara Falls International Airport with easy airport travel. So we have one of the most reasonably sized, I won't say small, reasonably sized airports in the US. And yeah, I tell people when I want to go somewhere, I don't need to, show up at the airport any more than 2-3 hours before my flight. I'm a last minute guy. Get in, get through TSA, and we're good. So this is gonna be interesting. I could see airport travel taking down the falls. I really could.
Yeah, the falls is just something that we're blessed with being right next to us, kind of that built-in trip to taking a visiting family member or a friend to see on and show off the accolade of that. The easy airport travel, though, is like mind-boggling sometimes, even though it's not always that easy. Um, this is something very unique to Buffalo as well, showing up like 20 minutes before your flight and being able to breeze through TSA. Maniac's giving me a heart attack with doing that before. But yeah, should be a good matchup. The Falls might be in trouble, like you said, Donnie. Maniac, what do you think?
Yeah, don't sleep on the airport, and also don't sleep on Slick bringing an open beef bowl on your flight as well. I could easily see easy airport travel. I would in this one.
All right. Yep. And then next we have another water themed staple, Canal Side. Great spot to be in the summer. And another summer event, Taste of Buffalo, right in the Niagara Square downtown, coming in at a 7 and a 10 respectively. Um, Taste of Buffalo. It's, I mean, this is a controversial entry. Some people I know absolutely love Taste of Buffalo. Some people say you'll never catch me dead down there for that. Um, and Canal Side, though, it's there used to be a lot more concerts happening there. They've kind of taken a step back in terms of things. I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. They didn't even have fireworks down there for Fourth of July. I was with a whole group of people where we were just waiting for like 2 hours and nothing happened. Um,
Well,
so
guys, I think it's time to go home.
yeah, pretty much.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. Yeah, you brought it up, Donnie, so I guess I'll keep kind of touching on that. Canal Side, kind of losing their momentum, it feels like the past couple years. And I didn't know that anyone hated the taste of buffalo because I guess I'm just not one of them. I love the taste of buffalo, all the offerings and great, delicious treats that the city of Buffalo offers that you can try. Maniac and I went last year. Definitely got some good eats. I see a huge upset here. Canal Side just isn't doing it for me anymore. What do you think, Maniac?
Yeah, it's also like, again, you're thinking about Canal Side. What have I done there lately? Nothing. You're thinking about Taste of Buffalo. You're thinking about good weather on the horizon. You're thinking about good food. Definitely a big and definitely a recipe opportunity here for Taste of Buffalo to pull up the upset, like you said, Slick.
yep. And then speaking of, this is an interesting one. I mean, this is a tough draw for Pizza Logs, but Pizza Logs playing game 2 years ago, absolutely made a run. Last year made a run. They're here at 15. Kind of a low seeding for them. They're taking on one Buffalo Sundays, which is, I mean, what's better than the Buffalo Bills getting a win and just, that rare small window of the year when we could get Bandits, Sabres, and Bills all winning in one weekend. I mean, there's nothing that tucks me in Sunday night that takes away those Sunday scaries quite like that.
Nothing quite like a one Buffalo Sunday, as you said. People love pizza logs, though. I mean, people get real defensive about the food, but pizza logs is one of those ones where they are pretty hard to mess up and add their own pizzazz to. So I think the one Buffalo Sundays, I mean, like you said, there's nothing like all three of your sports franchises in your city winning on the same day, weekend, whatever, and then going on to a victory Monday the next day. So this will be a thrilling matchup, and I'm very excited to see who walks away victorious.
Yeah, one Buffalo Sundays could definitely make a Final Four potentially against like Haley Steinfeld. What a matchup! What a dream here in the Buffalo bracket. So looking forward to seeing. Unbelievable the vibe here. It could be insane here. So looking forward to seeing this region break it down. I'm looking forward to seeing the madness begin on tomorrow with the play-ins.
Tomorrow with the plans, yep, and then I think Thursday, yeah, we get the full voting launch. We're gonna post a schedule this year, which we haven't done in years past, so you can really get after it. Make sure you're texting your friends so you can get your votes in. In years past, we've the games have kind of just rolled, but we're gonna have a comprehensive schedule so when you got to get your votes in and how to get them in. Remember, we're voting on Twitter, but we're gonna have graphics for everything, Insta, all of that, and then our first four. We'll just give you a reminder about that. Northtown, we have Step Out Buffalo versus Buffalo Joe. Perry's Ice Cream versus Buffalo Fish Fry for the Southtown 16. Downtown 10, Riverworks versus City Hall, and then Niagara for the 16 seed, Anderson's versus Sponge Candy, and that is your 2025 bracket. Now we have to address a major piece of breaking news that has just come over our desk. Folks, Chicken Wings has retired You may have
Oh my,
noticed
what?
3-time champion beat Buffalo Bill last year for their second in a row. We thought they were coming back for a three-peat for a 4th overall wing. They've thrown in the towel. This is like Michael Jordan in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like he wins 3 and then he's like, I have nothing to prove. I don't care that I'm at my peak. I'm out. This is an absolute shock, guys.
I mean, this is devastating to the bracket, but not for the other competitors because someone will be crowned a new best of Buffalo. I'll go on record right now and say greatest champion we've had in the Buffalo bracket. And I want to be the one that says they will be the number 2 immortalization in the Trainwreck Sports Hall of Fame. Chicken wings on the Buffalo bracket. We'll address the first induction at a later date.
Yeah, we'll have to get the Trainwreck Sports Hall of Fame class going. Looking forward to that. Very interesting for Chicken Wings to decide to go play baseball at this juncture. I'm looking forward to see how they do in that regard and if they could change sports. But yeah, gone too soon, Chicken Wings, I would say. Thank you for all you done. Probably got to be about like 30-2 overall in Buffalo bracket matchups, I think.
Special.
Yeah.
An unbelievable run. We'll see if they can be convinced to come back like Jordan. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens or if this truly is the end. But folks, this is the end of our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you're casting your vote and have a good night
Night.
now.
Wow.